Hello everyone, this is Mrs. Weigel. Welcome to the Weigel Garden. We are extremely novice gardeners. We've planted gardens a few years, but we either let things die or we go away on vacation for 3 weeks. This year we were determined, and we still haven't done very well. So several of the plants that you're going to see literally went in the ground last night. Most of my seedlings died. I'll show you the few that have survived. And our most successful plants are volunteers that did not die in our compost last year. This first bed is our corn. We planted corn a few years ago and it did very poorly. We had planted 2 different varieties and maybe only 12 or 15 of each. This is a 4x8 bed, and I counted last night we have just shy of 60 corn plants growing. So we did have to start watering the garden last night because it's been very dry here the last week or 2. But these block beds we put in all new this year. They replaced another raised bed we had that was similar to the corn bed, only it was made of landscape timbers, and it was 4 or 5 years old and just disintegrating. And we put these beds in, which are around 4.5 by 4.5 ish. So this first bed has golden midget watermelon. Do I need to thin these out? I planted the number they said in each place, and clearly that there's only maybe 1 surviving. But then there are several here, maybe 3 or 4 plants in each other position. The tomatoes are jet setters that I purchased at a local small nursery for $1 a couple weeks ago because my tomato seedlings died. This is a Bulgarian carrot pepper, one of the few remaining seedlings that survived. There's its friend over there, hoping that we'll still get some life out of these. And these are pole beans. I've never grown green beans before. I'm really excited because I love green beans and I'm canning more actively now than ever. And the back of these next 2 beds have more pole beans. I don't have any trellising on them yet. I'm going to buy something for that today. This second bed has more pole beans. That is a Roma tomato that I purchased at the nursery also. And there are my last 2 little pitiful surviving green peppers. I'm going to wait until they get a little bit stronger before spreading them out into this space a little bit more. This is another Roma tomato, and I think I'm probably going to put it in a container because the festival squash are, I think, going to take over this garden the way that some other squash has in another bed. I saved these seeds from a squash that we ate last year, and they were delicious. I planted 1 per square, and these 3 plants survive. So I think what I need to do is thin 1 of them out, maybe even 2 of them. So would love to know your feelings on that. I know 1 of them needs to go, at least, probably the middle one. But it may be that I need to just take out these 2 smaller ones on the end and let the big one have it. These are nasturtiums, and they are in pots that are way too small for them. I need to repot them, but I don't have anything. So when I go to buy the trellising for the green beans today, I'm going to pick up some different hanging pots for the nasturtium. I bought them for dual purpose. They are an edible, and they taste a little bit like pepper, so it's been fun to try them. I also wanted the color to draw more pollinators. This is our third bed of the concrete variety. These sad little plants up front are cantaloupe, and this is actually the second time that I've planted them, and they're finally getting their second leaves, but you can see their first leaves were just munched by some evil little critters. So I'm hoping that some of them will survive. The two tomato plants here and here are Romas, again from the nursery. This and this are cayenne peppers, also from the nursery. All four of these and the tomato in the last bed literally went in last night. They had really been suffering from lack of water, and they're looking very nice this morning. I'm thankful. It's all God, because I certainly had neglected them, sadly. And here we have a couple of strawberry plants that clearly I have done my best to kill. I don't know where to plant them yet. I may plant them in a tire this evening, just as a temporary bed. The last of the block beds is my favorite, because it has the plants that are doing the best, because they're the plants that I have nothing to do with. This, I can't even get far enough out to get this whole plant. I know it's a squash. I call it the Squashous Mysterious. Squashous Mysterious #1 was a volunteer because our compost didn't get hot enough last year, and so seeds didn't break down, and it is taking over this bed. Squashous Mysterious #2 is here. I don't have any idea what type of squash these two are. This one had such long tendrils that keep creeping out that I put this trellis work up. So there's a first little glimpse at whatever this is going to produce. I have no idea what that is. I mean, it's a squash. Something is eating this one, and that's sad. Should I let it just tendril all over the ground? On Squashous Mysterious #1, I don't know if you can see where that limb has broken off right there, and its little leaves, or its big leaves, are getting all wilted. Should I trim that off? Also right there you can see that one limb has been completely crushed. Should I cut that off? Squashous Mysterious bed also has two tomato plants. These are Matt's Wild Cherry, and they are volunteers. They come back like weeds every year. If I showed you every Matt's Wild Cherry that is growing in this yard or in any of these beds, lots of them in the little squares, it's just, they're a weed, but they're the most delicious weed I have ever encountered. So there you have it. And we have cucumbers. These are supposed to be climbers, so we're hoping that as they grow they will do that. We'll train them as much as we can. Sure, this trellis has huge gaps. Will they climb anyway, or do I need to get them some trellis work that will be a closer mesh like I'm going to be buying for the green beans? questions I do not have the answers to. Oh, also, on these two, I'm going to leave this one, but the one farther back is clearly being encroached upon by Squashous Mysterious. And so I think I'm going to pull that one out. I also have two blueberry bushes. This one and that little one over there. They are about 4 years old. This is a late bearing. That's a mid bearing. The tire down there with nothing in it had my early bearing blueberries. I get very little, if any, yield. You can see I have just a few berries growing on this late bush. Looks like we might get a dozen or so berries on the mid-bearing. But you can even see that it's dying out. It only has leaves on about half of it. So I don't know what to do to make our blueberries healthier. I don't know if I should be pruning them at some point. We have never really harvested the blueberries, except maybe the kids taking them and obviously birds. So that's our garden. We're excited about a harvest. We're excited to preserve. Would love any input that anybody has about what I should do with any of my garden. Thanks so much. This is a green bean. No, it's not. But it's not really doing it on its own. I have to do it. That's gonna fall. Oh well. So is the trellis work right on this one? Wild strawberry.